really would have been a good fit.
Will be a little rustic.
I'll start this. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Just a reminder to everyone, please turn off or silence all cell phones or electronic devices. This is a hearing of the Committee of Adjustment for the City of Thorold for Thursday, July 18th, 2024. Everyone present will be given an opportunity to speak for or against the applications being heard. When given a chance to speak, you'll have 5 minutes, so please be sure to be as clear and consistent as possible. For your information, Committee of Adjustment is a public process. Personal information such as the applicant's name and property address, which is reported at a Committee of Adjustment meeting, is public information. Minutes of this Committee of Adjustment meeting will be received by Thorold City Council at a public council meeting and become part of the public record. Please address all your comments and questions through the chair. A copy of the decision will be sent to the applicant or agent and to any person who files a written request. Agencies commenting applications may request that certain conditions be imposed. Voicing objections to these conditions will not adversely affect the committee's decision. The Committee of Adjustment is a quasi-judicial body operating under the Planning Act, the Municipal Act, and the Statutory Powers Procedure Act, as well as various provincial regulations. Sections 45 and 50 of the Planning Act outline the circumstances surrounding the approval of minor variances and controlling the conveyance of land in Ontario and the prevention of subdivision of land except with governmental approval. The applicant, the minister, or any specified person or public body who has an interest in the matter may, within 20 days of the making of the minor variance decision and 20 days from the date of the mailing of the consent decision, appeal to the Ontario Land Tribunal. Please note, neighbors and other interested parties not defined by the Planning Act are no longer eligible to file appeals as per Bill 23. More Homes Built Faster Act 2022. I'd ask the Deputy Clerk to read the land acknowledgement, please.
The City of Thorold is situated on treaty land. This land is steeped in the rich history of the First Nations, such as the Hattawadaronk, the Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe, including the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. There are many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people from across Turtle Island that live and work in Niagara today. The City of Thorold stands with all Indigenous people, past and present, in promoting the wise stewardship of the lands on which we live.
Thank you. Does any member of this panel have a pecuniary interest in any of the applications to be considered at this hearing? No, nor do I. May I have a motion from the committee that the agenda be adopted with one addition. Under other business, we will be appointing an acting secretary-treasurer.
So through you, Mr. Chair, I've just got the motion here up on the screen. If committee wanted to move and second and then vote on the matter.
Thank you. All in favor? Thank you.
Okay, and then through you, Mr. Chair, just the final vote to then basically adopt that amended agenda would be another mover and seconder.
Can I ask the Deputy Clerk, our screens aren't working up here. Could you put them on, please, so we don't have to look through the eyes in the back of our head? No. Can I get a motion for the agenda to be moved as amended? Mr. Ravenek, Mr. Jackson, all in favor? Thank you. I have a motion that the minutes from June 20th be adopted as presented. Mr. Daniels, seconded. Mr. Pizzo. Any errors or omissions? Seeing none, all in favor? Thank you. Was notice given as required by the Planning Act, Madam Secretary Treasurer?
Yes, sir, it was.
Are there any requests for withdrawal or adjournment? I know there's a staff deferral on the one motion, on the one application.
No request for withdrawal or adjournment, and yes, staff has deferred.
Thank you. Okay, to the deputy clerk?
Yeah, sorry, it's not
Okay.
appearing on your screen there?
Okay, no,
Sorry about that. Okay.
that's okay. Let's move on to the first application, 73 Martin Street, D1312, 2024. Mr. Planner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll apologize. I had a presentation, but my computer is not working properly, so I'm gonna wing it and just kind of explain everything off the top of my head. So the application is for a minor variance for 73 Martin Street. And the request is for a maximum permitted height for an accessory structure in a residential zone, going from the permitted 4.5 meters to 5.7 meters. And the purpose is for a secondary dwelling unit to be put above the garage. So just for background purposes, Bill 23, the More Homes Built Faster Act, requires a municipality to allow for up to 3 additional residential units per lot. In this case, 2, it could be 2 in the main building and 1 in an accessory building, but it doesn't have any minimum unit sizes, and no more than 1 additional parking spot can be required as of right. With regard to this application, again, the relief requested is to allow for a maximum height of 5.7 meters. There were a number of public comments on this application, and staff believes those have been addressed through the planning report. So staff is recommending approval of the minor variance, and we're here to answer any questions that you might.
Thank you. Who presents on behalf of this application, please, if you could approach? Thank you. If you could identify yourself for the record, please.
Oh, sorry, Chris Heckley, owner of 73 Martin Street.
Welcome. Go ahead.
Yeah, it won't take too much time. Like I said, owner of the home since 2007, making it my primary residence right now. Just looking to build a garage and a unit up top. Have a young daughter who's 7. The whole plan is, you know, yes, I'll rent it out to friends and family right now, just because I know housing is very hard for a lot of people. I'm trying to make it affordable. But the plan is in 10 years for either I to move in there or my daughter to move in there, because I don't know what the housing market's going to look like. But like I said, I'm not going to take too much of your time. Like I said, I agree with the recommendation. I have made some adjustments to the original plan, reducing the height, flipping the building so the entrance is into my yard. Like I said, I did take the neighboring comments very serious, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Hackley. Questions or comments from the committee? Mr. Ravenek.
Through you, Mr. Chair, you have a copy of the planning report in front of you?
Yes, I do.
And you have the copy of the neighbors' concerns?
Yes.
Could you flip to page 29 and we'll just kind of go through them?
Yes.
Okay, so for the first one is parking. Are you going to will be a provided parking spot for that
Yes.
unit?
In my driveway, there's enough room for 3 vehicles, and without the fence being there, there'll be a 4th spot.
Okay. And then a little bit further down under the section that says privacy, it says that the staircase is just going to be inches off the fence line. That,
The staircase, I believe, will be 2 meters from the fence line. And like I said, I can put a privacy fence so it's not looking into the rear neighbors.
okay. And, there's a issue about a light at the entrance, and I don't, maybe the planner can enlighten it. Does the light have to be on all night, or just when people are approaching the staircase or the entrance?
Well, that entrance has been flipped now, so it's going in my yard. It's not facing the neighbor's
Oh.
property anymore, so that's been resolved.
Oh, so you addressed that issue?
Yeah.
Okay. And this is probably a question more for the planner. about an old weeper system being 3 feet from the fence line that's clogged and needs repair. It's not uncommon to have drains that drain backyards, but ultimately, whose responsibility is it to maintain those drains? Because over years, they get clogged. I know they come and suck out the ones that are on the streets, but the ones that are in the backyards, what happens to those?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, it's a good question. With regards to if it is a municipally maintained drain, then it would be someone could call the city to have that reviewed, and we would go out and clean it up. If it's on private property, it's a different matter altogether. But in this case, I would imagine it's municipal drains, so it would likely just need a phone call to the municipality, and that could get cleaned up.
All right. Okay, I think that is all the questions that I had.
Thank you, Mr. Ravenek. Mr. Pizzo?
Question, you're the owner?
Yes, I am.
How many cars do you drive, you guys?
One vehicle.
One?
Yeah, I live alone.
So it's one vehicle, there's room for another 3,
There's room for another 3, that's correct.
and you're gonna live where?
I'm gonna live in the main house. Yeah.
'Cause there
With my
was
daughter.
Some kind of talk that you were moving into the garage.
Well, down the road, like I said, it's a long-term plan. Like I said, it's something I'm planning down the road for my daughter when she's older, when she wants her own place. So it's just more of a long-term plan of, it's not just a rental income.
Okay, thank you very much.
Further questions or comments from the committee? Mr. Daniels?
So you say you made oh, that's loud. We made a lot of changes to the dock. Can we see that? Because I mean, there's a lot of things, like even when someone comes in, they build like a new, and they say it's going to be asphalt, but then it's gravel, and no one goes to follow up to see if they actually did it or not. Like, we're being presented with something, but we're being told it's going to be something different. So it's hard to make a judgment call on.
Yeah, so on page 15, it mentions the changes under the height, reducing the height. Actually, no, not 15, sorry. Where did I see that? Oh, sorry, page 17. It shows the height reduction.
No, but I'm talking about, like, you said the staircase is going to be now on the other
Yeah,
side. And,
that's in the comments as well.
okay. Okay. Yeah, no further questions for me, but
Thank you.
I mean, we do have a petition, and it just seems a lot of people in the neighborhood don't really want to see it, but.
Yeah,
I
yeah, that was
mean-
the petition for the first set of plans, dated May 15th.
So, that's my question. If we're getting a conflicting set of plans with a petition and all, how come we don't have the actual in front of us? Other than just comments of saying that this has been changed? No, I'm just saying that that's something else. That's something completely different. How we don't follow up with what has been the changes are, right? I was just making reference to another application. I wasn't actually making reference to this one, but that's fine. No further questions from me.
Thank you. Over to the planner?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just for the benefit of committee, on page 20 of the agenda, there is a revised site plan that does depict the staircase on the south side of the accessory structure. So that is the revised plan that was submitted by the applicant.
Good. Are there members of the public that would like to speak to the committee on this application? If you could come forward, please. If you could identify yourself for the record, please.
Hi, I'm Jay Warner. I live at 71 Martin Street next to Mr. Heckley. So the one letter that we are reading from, I did make a mistake in not adjusting Mr. Heckley's movement of the stairs, which I appreciate. The drainage is a large issue in my backyard. My shop, I have a shop back there. It's a barn-style shop, 17 feet to the peak. I would believe that back in 1989, when it was approved, there must have been an amendment at the time, but no one lives above it. It's treated as an attic to the shop. but the property is low, and I consistently have water issues on my property. So one of the concerns with the drainage is when you build a dwelling, whether it's a house or a second dwelling on a property, is the slope and grading, which is a requirement through the city as well as building codes. Now, with those, I've been told that there is a weeper system under there. I recently dug up some of it. I did find weeper under there. It's completely clogged between the rat problem we have in that neighborhood, which is severe, and again, the water draining, which is now heaving the concrete in my driveway. Because it's coming from the back of the properties, all sloping in and out, and there's no way for me to re-slope my property because of a large tree there. So that is a concern. Other than that, the building will, at that height, completely block the sun. I do have, well, not completely, but I do have a few gardens back there and a large tree. I'm not an arborist or any type of scientist that could tell you how it's gonna affect that part of it. The concern of the parking, again, it's a single lane driveway. Are they gonna arrange for the person who's renting to keep moving in and out? We do have nurses that come to the street for the elderly within the vicinity of 73 Martin. And parking can be a problem quite often because there are other rentals without enough parking. So the one side of the street is generally jammed with cars on a daily basis. Besides that, I think everything else was addressed. Now, I had written email in regards to the petition, and I asked in that email if this petition would still stand. Now, I did talk to all the people that are on here, and what I understood is that this petition would still stand because there was nothing written back other than they received what was sent. So I've been in contact with everyone on here, and they still have the concerns, whether it be like, privacy issues and so on. I believe that's all I have for today.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. Would the planner like to address any of those comments? I think a lot of it's been addressed.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chairman, I think most have been addressed. I would note that the petition was included in the committee's report, and it obviously stands. It was received, and it's been public. My goodness, it has been published. I'm sorry. So it is part of the public record.
And the drainage issue?
With regard to the drainage issue, we can certainly raise that to the attention of our Public Works Division and let them know about the issues in that neighborhood. And this is obviously on public record as well, so we can definitely flag that for sure.
May I approach again? Just
Sure, go ahead. Quickly.
yeah, sorry. And again, back to the Build Houses Faster Act. I understand it completely. The property is much smaller than what's been previously approved at Carlton Street. I can't recall the number at Carlton Street, but they're doing the same plan, but the yard is 4 times the size of the yard at 73. Again, it's gonna be a small apartment from what I understand, but it doesn't necessarily build a house faster.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else like to address? Please, come forward. If you could identify yourself, please.
My name's Kevin Crawford. I live behind the property at Martin Street.
Thank you.
He's saying he's doing all this to make a plan for his daughter. Well, his daughter's like 7 years old, so like when is it
Well, he said it was long range.
long range to me? Know what I mean?
Yes.
And then there's the privacy, like I'm in the backyard of him. Like he'll be looking into all the neighbors in the backyard from the back windows of the building. Like, we've all lived there for a long time. We all have small lots, right? We've all had a little bit of privacy, and all of our privacy is taken away from one gentleman that wants to build a dwelling there. Like, I just don't think that's fair.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your time. Mr. Heckley, quickly, please. I've seen you run. That's about it, right?
Yeah. So I did respond to the comments of the privacy. So the back windows and the side windows are small 24-inch wide windows, and they'll all be frosted. One is a bathroom, so obviously privacy is a two-way issue, so that's why it is a frosted window, and same with the side. Any window facing any of my neighbors are frosted, so the privacy is upheld.
Thank you. Mr. Ravenek.
Just a question for Mr. Heckley before he
Go ahead.
he leaves. Drainage on your property for that garage, is it going to be from rear to front, or is it going to be from rear to onto Mr. Warner's property?
It'll be rear to front going down my driveway. So I have it set up to be with rain barrels as well to collect the rain water from his property. As well, it'll be properly graded professionally. That way there is no water issues running into his yard to alleviate his problems.
Okay, thank you.
Further questions or comments? I see no one in the audience. Is there anyone online, Mr. DeBono? Mr. Pizzo.
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I'm just, there are some individuals online. Perhaps Madam Secretary can just advise if they're speaking on this or another matter.
Well, if they're not asking to be heard, then they're just listening. That's fine.
Okay.
Mr. Pizzo.
Okay, I make a motion to approve D 1312, 2024 be approved based on review of the pertinent information, comments present at the hearing and having conducted a site visit for the reasons stated in the plan. I'd like to make sure that
Wait, just a second, Mr. Pizzo. Let's get a seconder so we can get that on the floor. Do we have a seconder? Mr. Jackson, thank you. Go ahead, Mr.
I'd just
Pizzo.
like to make sure that the drainage is on the report. And you say you only have 3 cars.
He has one car.
I have 3 cars. One thing I can't stand is parking on the street, but I go along.
Thank you, Mr. Pizzo. Mr. DeBono, anybody with their hands raised?
Checking final time here, Mr. Chair. They've all been permitted to speak, and I don't see any hands raised.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay,
Mr. Ravenek.
Mr. Chair, I had noticed earlier on when there was another slide that there was a fellow named Hank Nada had his hand up, and I think the plans were drawn by Nada, so I don't know if he had anything or if he's lowered his hand.
Mr. Nada is an attendee. He's been permitted to speak. He can speak if he so wishes.
Thank you, through the chair. I'm just the agent for the next application for Hodgkins Street, so I'll just
Okay.
sit here quietly until the next one.
Thank you, Mr. Nada.
You're welcome.
Further questions or comments? We ready for the, Mr. Pizzo?
One of the things that we hear a lot is drainage. Drainage. I hope the hell they go and look at the drainage. Get after them.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I would just say that through the building permit process, an overall grading and drainage plan is typically required. And so it will be reviewed through the building permit process. But as noted, we will mention the issues with the blockages and the current situation out there to our engineering division.
Thank you. Gentlemen, this is not an easy one. Are we ready for the question? All in favor of the motion? Opposed to the motion? Motion, the application's passed. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for their time. And we're hoping that Mr. Heckley works with the neighbors in the future. Next application, Mr. Planner. Hodgkins Avenue.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So there is an application that's been submitted for a single detached accessory structure that's proposed to be a second dwelling unit. So there are 2 relief provisions from the zoning bylaw. One is for maximum lot coverage of an accessory structure from 10% to 16.2%, and to allow the maximum floor area to be increased from 40% of the primary dwelling unit to 47.8% of the primary dwelling unit. Staff has reviewed the application, very similar to the previous application. This is related to the Bill 23 information. We've reviewed the application, we've reviewed the analysis. We believe it meets the 4 tests of the minor variance, and we are recommending approval of the application, and that concludes my comments.
Thank you. Who presents this application? I think we've already heard from you, Mr. Nada.
Hello, can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can. You go ahead, please.
Good morning. Through the chair, thank you, everyone. I'm Hank Nada from Nada Home Designs. I'm the agent representing the owner of 50 Hodgkins Avenue. I have received the planning department's report. I've read it in its entirety. I make one note in terms of the comments that have come back from the municipality with regards to the unpaid taxes. I like to tell this committee that confirming with the owner of 50 Hodgkins that his unpaid taxes have been paid June 25th, and noting that this report was prepared June 20th. That's why it's shown as unpaid, but as of confirmation, property taxes have been paid June 25th.
Thank you, sir. Go ahead. Mr. Nada, any further comments?
Sorry, through the chair, no further comments.
Thank you. Questions or comments from the committee? Any questions or comments from the public? Seeing none.
Through you,
hearing
Mr.
none.
Chair, sorry, just to confirm that they've been asked to speak. I don't see any comments coming forward.
Thank you, Mr. DeBono. Committee members? Thank you, Mr. Pizzo. Thank you, Mr. Pizzo. Do we have a seconder? Mr. Ravenek. Further questions or comments? Seeing none. All in favor of the motion? Thank you. Moving on to other business. We have a motion that needs to be made to appoint a temporary secretary-treasurer that can be official in any absence of our secretary-treasurer. What is the name being presented? I'm sorry.
Jessica Abram.
Jessica Abram. Hi, Jessica. Forgot you already, sorry. Do we have a motion to appoint Jessica Abram as Mr. Ravenek? Jessica Abram as acting secretary-treasurer in the absence of our secretary-treasurer. Thank you. Do we have a seconder for that? Mr. Jackson, thank you. Questions or comments? All in favor? Congratulations, Jessica. You're moving up the ladder. Does anybody have any other business? Seeing none. Kenny? No?
Okay.
You won't let it die, will he?
Nope.
It's too late. Can we have a motion to adjourn? Mr. Ravenek, seconded by Mr. Daniels. I think I saw a twitch. All in favor? Thank you, gentlemen. See you in August.